Hello friends, and welcome back. All right, so I want you to imagine, and I invite you to close your eyes if it feels better. Imagine yourself lying in the perfect hammock on the perfect day, and how this hammock makes you feel like you're floating and you're supported all at once. Imagine yourself being held or spooned by your beloved, and how your body begins to become heavy, melt, and let go. Imagine that sense of physical surrender that occurs when you're in your own bed with your favorite pillows and blankets, with rain softly tapping down on the rooftop, and how that allows a deep sense of ease and opportunity to alleviate stress. Well, this is the intention of restorative yoga, to teach your body to feel held, to teach you stillness and non-doing. The opposite of doing is being, and the practice of just being is hugely overlooked in our modern day world. I mean, with our devices and the 24-hour news cycle and all of our responsibilities, it can feel near impossible just to slow down. But here's the thing. It's in the slowing down where you can really begin to listen to your body and hear the very important things it has to say. Restorative postures also assist to open and soften the muscles and connective tissue in and around the pelvis. They calm the nervous system and increase the secretions of endorphins. In fact, they can reset your body's stress-relaxation ratio, helping to create a more receptive state in both the mind and body. For your fertility toolkit, I'm going to teach you an all-time favorite go-to restorative posture that is deeply beneficial and considered a jewel for women in particular. So it's called Viparita Karani, which translates in Sanskrit to mean legs up the wall or inverted lake pose. So I want you to find some space at a wall, grab a pillow or a blanket if you have one handy, and let's check it out. All right, so we've found our space at a wall, and I have with me a pillow or bolster. And like I said, you know, if you have a pillow or a blanket folded handy, that's fine. And if you don't worry about it, because you don't have to have anything. But I'm gonna have you take one hip pretty close up against the wall. And then you're gonna start to ease yourself back and try to keep your tushy as close to the wall as you can. It doesn't have to be flush. And you're just going to ease yourself where you're lying on your back, and you start to swing your legs up the wall. Now I will tell you that if you swing your legs up the wall and your tushy's very far away from the wall, it's going to be hard to kind of scooch forward. So you might have to kind of scoot your booty, you know, toward the wall on your side. But once you get here, just take a moment and feel your body in space, allowing the legs to come up. And if you have super tight hamstrings and your tushy is pretty close to the wall, and you feel like your pelvis is getting lifted like this, you are going to want to inch yourself back. So just know that we want to have the pelvis fully relaxed down on the ground. Now, as you're here, if you don't have any other props, then you're just going to remain here. If you have a folded blanket or the pillow or bolster, you're going to turn it right next to you. Start to bend your knees and place your feet flat on the ground, and just push into the ground enough that you can lift your hips, and you're going to slide it underneath your pelvis, kind of low back area. And then I'm just kind of scooching myself a little bit closer to the wall so that my tushy hangs off the back edge of the bolster there. And here is where you start to just kind of let go. You don't have to activate your legs a lot and fully straighten them. Just let them relax. And for some people, there's going to be a deeper bend in the knee, and that's okay. So take a few moments here, and I'll talk about some of the benefits of this amazing pose. So clearly, it's an inverted pose, which is thought to nourish the endocrine glands and balance metabolic function and definitely increase circulation. But it's also, gravity's kind of on our side here. So this reversal of blood flow is allowing the blood to come down into the pelvis. And when the pelvis is elevated, like mine is, the blood starts to kind of pool in the pelvic region, and it slowly starts to wash towards these major organs, all the way towards the thyroid gland. So in that it is giving the heart a break, if you will. The heart doesn't have to work as hard to circulate the blood. And it's helping with that circulation of blood and lymphatic fluid. So it's just kind of really lovely in that way. Also, it's calming the nervous system. So we've talked a lot about the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response, and this is really super rejuvenating to the system, calming to the mind and body. Now, it might start to feel a little bit strange, little tingling sensation in your toes or your feet, maybe even in your lower legs. That's completely normal. If it starts to become really uncomfortable, you can always just slowly start to bend your knees a little bit, just kind of see how that feels, and you can kind of ease yourself back in. If you're really like, I really need to take a break for a second, then this is a beautiful place to come with the soles of the feet together and the knees apart. And you can take several breaths here. But any kind of like movement of the legs like that, where you're switching out of legs up the wall, you always want it to be slow and deliberate. So as we're here, just take several rounds of breath and start to allow your body to feel held. So a couple of other things just to keep in mind in regards to this pose and this particular kind of variation with the pelvis lifted and your fertility. So the other thing this works with is what's called Apanavayu. So there's these different energy winds in the body, and they all have different jobs. And the lower energy wind is Apanavayu, and its job is a pulling down and kind of pulling out motion. So it governs our menstrual cycles and elimination and digestion and stuff like that. So when you're trying to get pregnant, and say you're on the 2-week wait, for example, this pose is amazing because it's really working with Apanavayu to kind of reverse that downward pull. And so try it out. And the other thing is, they say that 10 minutes in this posture is like taking a 20 to 30 power nap in terms of the rejuvenation that the body and the mind can feel. So, this is one of these things where, if you're at work and you have your own office and you can just shut the door and swing your legs up the wall for a few minutes, it can really make a big shift in your day. So take several more moments here to just feel. And your hands can be wherever feels good. I have mine out. It just feels like a nice opening across my chest, but you can certainly have your hands on your belly, or one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. You can just kind of, even if you wanted more of a shoulder opener, you could come into what we call cactus or goalpost arms, which is this kind of bent elbow here, or even arms straight out. So just start to explore for yourself what feels good in this moment for you. What does your body need? And when you are ready to come out of it, this is where we just want to go slow, okay? So you're going to start to bend your knees. Just kind of take a second to just feel. And if you have something under your pelvis like I do, you're going to just kind of push into the wall, lift the pelvis, scoot your prop out. And this is where kind of coming to soles of the feet together, knees apart, might feel really, really lovely. Just take a moment. And you can really feel the blood moving back down into the lower legs, your feet. And then when you're ready to come out of this, you're going to draw your knees together. You're going to carefully roll to one side and just pause for a moment.
So we never want to just pop straight out of this pose very quickly, because it is, like I said, calming the nervous system. It's also lowering the blood pressure. So it's just one of those things, if you come out really fast, you might kind of feel weird or dizzy. And then when you're ready, you're going to use the strength of your arms to press yourself up. All right. So please, please give us some feedback. Let us know how it's going for you. And we'll see you on the next video to add to your fertility toolkit. Namaste.